Hello, everybody, and welcome to Monday Night Travel with Rick Steves Europe. My name is Gabe Gunning, and I have the privilege of joining you all this evening as your moderator as Rick takes us on a romantic romp through Europe to celebrate Valentine's Day. Now, without further ado, I would like to turn things over to your tour guide for this evening, Rick Steves. Rick, over to you.
Gabe, thank you so much. And it's beautiful to be with you and Lisa and with all of our travel friends on Monday Night Travel. Every Monday, I think this is our 59th Monday, we get together and we enthuse about travel. And I just need this. During this pandemic time, it's been so great to have all of you to share our love of Europe with. And today's a special day. Of course, it's Valentine's Day. So quite predictably, we have laced together our most romantic getaways. I'm just really getting kind of up for this. I shut down from work a little bit early. For me, this is just fun. I tidy up the house, open the virtual door, and all of a sudden, a couple of thousand of you tumble in arm with your favorite travel partners, enjoying your favorite drinks and little treats. I'm going to be drinking some nice Italian red wine tonight, and I'm going to be enjoying that. This happens to be Di Ricci. It's a beautiful experience when you go to Montepulciano to visit the folks at Ricci, and they take you down into their cantina. And this is the Vino Nobile di Montepulciano. This is just a beautiful, not very expensive as some Tuscan wines can be, full-bodied, nice wine. And if you're having a romantic time together with your favorite travelers, you might want a plate of chocolates to sip your wine with. Yeah, you know, we are in a good mood at Rick Steves Europe right now because for 2 years, we've been hunkered down. And just yesterday, as a matter of fact, yes, yesterday, we started our tour program again. We have 4 tours in Europe right now. I've had the joy of calling them up during their welcome dinner party and talking to the groups and their guides on the phone, and they're just excited to be in Europe. They are the bushwhackers, they are the vanguard, they are the hardy, brave ones that are going over there and gonna let us know how it's going. So we're excited. I just got my plane ticket to Europe. I'm heading over there in a month, got my itinerary all figured out. Things happen to be loosening up now, and we're very, very guardedly optimistic about what's going on with European travel. And whether you're going to be traveling next week or next year, you can be inspired by getting together with other travelers and sharing notes. That's what we're going to do today. We're going to compare notes on the most romantic corners of European travel. By the way, I'm also able to travel around the country a little bit now. I'm just kind of giddy about this. I love to get on a stage and talk about my love of Europe. In a couple of days, I'm flying to Minnesota, to Twin Cities, Minneapolis and St. Paul, and I'm going to host our special orchestra evening. It's called the Symphonic Journey, and I'll be performing with the Minnesota Symphony Orchestra on Friday and on Sunday in Minneapolis. And if you'd like to join me there, I'd love to see you. If you're not able to go to Twin Cities, you can always go to our website and check out the Symphonic Journey. It's a great, great program. Hey, right now, we're going to go to Europe, and it is Valentine's Day, and I've put together some, we call them Rick-up lines, and we're going to show you 6 or 8 of them over the course of the evening. Later on, we're going to have a flash poll, and you'll get to pick out which one's your favorite, but each one's got a little bit of fun. Here we've got, what is this one all about here? This says, are you from Holland? Because Amster. Let me get my act together here. Are you from Holland? Because Amsterdam. Or maybe you want to send your special travel partner this Valentine's. Is there an airport nearby? Or is that my heart taking off? Well, if my heart was going to take off right about now, it would take off for Nice and the French Riviera, the Côte d'Azur. Let me join you right there in Nice, and we'll learn why that is such a romantic destination for so many travelers. Thanks again for joining us. In the 19th century, aristocrats from London to Moscow flocked to France's sunny Côte d'Azur, or Blue Coast. Much loved for its blue seas and blue skies, this was the place for Northern Europeans to socialize, gamble, and escape their dreary weather. Whether you're rich or not, Nice, with its eternally entertaining seafront promenade and fine museums, is the enjoyable big city highlight of the Riviera. In its traffic-free old city, Italian and French flavors mix to create a spicy Mediterranean dressing. Nice may be nice, but it's hot and jammed in July and August. We're here in early June, beating the serious heat and crowds. The broad Promenade des Anglais, literally the walkway of the English, was paved in marble for blue-blooded 19th century English tourists who wanted a safe place to stroll and admire the view without getting their shoes dirty or smelling that fishy gravel. Today, it's a fun people scene with a bike and rollerblade path that leads all the way to the airport. The beach, while pebbly, is popular. Whether you're looking for an adrenaline rush or just working on your suntan, this beach has it all. Tan lines can be hard to find as Europeans are relaxed about topless sunbathing. I do have to mention, we are shooting for public television. We're shooting for American television, basically, and you just got to be very careful if there's any topless bathers or anything that might be a little bit too fleshy for our viewing audiences. So we have to actually flag our shows, because if you freeze frame and zoom in, you could find something that you really shouldn't be showing on public television in the United States. We have to literally flag our shows because of the nudity that appears in the art or sometimes on the beaches. But right now, we're enjoying the pebbly beach in Nice, and we're gonna have a salad niçoise. And that's my go-to lunch, really, in much of Europe, a salad niçoise. And it's a very good salad, and it's named after this town, Nice. While major stretches of the beach are public, much of it is private, where you pay to rent a spot, complete with mattress, lounge chair, and umbrella. For a particularly scenic lunch, you can eat on the beach. I'm having a salad niçoise, the hearty local standard, with anchovies, tuna, hard-boiled eggs, and tasty little niçoise olives. Graceful buildings from the turn of the last century lead in from the beach, reminders of the Belle Epoque. Literally the beautiful age, when the world seemed to revolve around the upper class, and indulgence with abandon was a lifestyle. Nice's Grand Opera House illustrates the beautiful extravagance of this era. Imagine this opulent jewel buried deep in the old town of Nice way back then. With Europe's elite wintering here, the rough-edged town needed some high-class entertainment. A prime example of Belle Epoque luxury is the majestic Hotel Negresco. It offers some of the city's most expensive beds and a chance to step back into that age of extreme refinement. The exquisite royal salon combines Belle Epoque grace with engineering by the great French architect Gustav Eiffel. The chandelier is made of 16,000 pieces of crystal. It was built in France for the Russian Tsar's Moscow palace, but because of the Bolshevik Revolution, he couldn't take delivery. You know, there's a lot of aristocrats through the ages that have gone to the French Riviera. Of course, the Russians went there when they needed to get a break from their dreary winters. We were just on a boulevard called the Promenade Anglaise, and that was a promenade built for the English, as we just learned. If you want to make your home base for the Riviera convenient to transportation and a town that has its own culture, Nice would be that town for sure. And from there, you've got all the little famous stops along the Riviera laced out like, I always think of them like little charms on a charm bracelet, connected by a beautiful bus line. The bus number 100 for one ticket cost. I mean, it's like the same if you go one stop or if you go all the way down the line. It can go from town to town to town to town all across the Riviera. And you can also hop on the train anywhere. There's 3 or 4 trains an hour that zip you every 15 minutes from town to town along the way. You got Nice, you got Antibes, you got Villefranche, you got Monte Carlo and Monaco. You got so many amazing places you can visit with Nice as a home base. A little farther north, we're going to be in Paris right now. I'm just, well, first of all, we're going to have a pickup line. No, we're going to go, I think we're going to go to Paris, then we're going to go to pickup line. And when we're in Paris, I just had to capture the beautiful feeling you have when you're going home after a nice night in Paris and you come back to your hotel and you just want one more look at the Eiffel Tower. Here we are in an elevator in my favorite hotel in Paris after having a lot of fun one evening.
Bonsoir, I'm Rick Steves.
It's me over here. And
Cinquième étage.
I love elevators that talk to me in French at midnight. And I always put a do not disturb on my door because I don't like it when I've got the remote fixed up the way I like it, and the maids come in and rearrange. But I've just had the greatest day. And, you know, we're in Paris, and I've been coming to Paris for all my life. And this city, just, it's never ending. It is the greatest city. And coming back into the room and knowing I've got all of this good information, and then stepping out onto my little balcony. Oh, it's raining. And looking around and, oh, baby. Life is just so good. And all day long, I've been enjoying connecting with France and enjoying Americans connecting with France. And that is the theme of today. Get out. The world's a good place. People are having a good time. It's full of good people. And the more we know that, the more we can enjoy life. Bon nuit. I guess that's sort of the posting on Facebook equivalent of a drunk call. Call it a drunk post. We're going to go now to just one more pickup line. My trip highlight, the moment I fell for you. Happy Valentine's Day. Now, we're going to go in the same city in Paris, and we're going to head up to the most romantic cemetery in all of Europe. I find cemeteries quite wistful, quite romantic, frankly. And this is the ultimate, Perlachez in Paris. The end of the line, the Perlachez Cemetery. It offers a stroll through a vast garden of permanent Parisians. The final resting place of many of the city's most notable citizens, its peaceful lanes and paths encourage meandering and contemplation. Poignant statues remember victims of concentration camps and Nazi resistance heroes. Pebbles on the Jewish tombstones represent prayers. Many visitors pick up a map and turn the visit into a personal pilgrimage, spending a few moments at the graveside of artists or grand personalities who touched their lives. Oscar Wilde, a great writer, is also remembered for his daring at the time homosexual lifestyle. He's mourned by outcast men, as the inscription reads, and it seems by wearers of heavy lipstick. The famous Parisian singer Edith Piaf also attracts fans. Raised in her grandmother's bordello, as a waif-like teenager, she sang in the streets for spare change. Nicknamed the Little Sparrow, she became the toast of pre-World War II Paris, lifted French spirits during German occupation, and then captured the joy of post-war Paris. While she certainly had her challenges, Edith Piaf embraced life and sang about having no regrets. Further down the way lies a famous American. The rock star Jim Morrison, lead singer of The Doors, has perhaps the most visited tomb in the cemetery. A Greek inscription reads, "To the spirit or demon within." Under that, fans leave personal mementos. Paris was Jim Morrison's chance to get healthy and get serious as a writer. But he died in a bathtub at age 27, probably from an overdose. Another big star for music lovers is Frederick Chopin. Fresh-cut flowers on his gravestone speak to the emotional staying power of Chopin's music, which still connects souls across the centuries. Chopin, so beautiful. Being in Paris, enjoying a little thought of Chopin. Hey, happy Valentine's Day to all of you. You know, walking through the Perlachez Cemetery, as I have for 20 years, it occurred to me, it'd be nice if somebody could just sort of whisper in my ear and tell me exactly where the most interesting spots are. That's why I made a self-guided audio tour, and thousands of people use it. It's absolutely free. It's one of 50 self-guided audio tours on my app, Rick Steves Audio Europe. If you don't have Rick Steves Audio Europe yet, download it. Again, it's just totally free. It's fun. It's easy. I've got all of the most important radio interviews organized in country-specific playlists. So everything we've done in Ireland, everything we've done in Portugal, everything of importance we've done in Norway or Greece or Paris would be right there, and you just click and you have it so you can listen to it when you've got some downtime in Europe. And most importantly, we've got those 50 guided tours. In Paris, there's about 5 or 6 of them. I'm going to be in Europe for the next 40 days, starting in mid-March. And one of my goals while I'm over there is to update and improve all of those audio tours, or as many of those audio tours as I can. Check it out, take advantage of it, because we really care about your trip. Dreaming of you gives any hotel 5 stars. Now we're going to go to the most romantic corner in Italy. It's up in the north in Lombardy, my favorite lake of the Lakes District. It's called Lago di Como. This is honeymoon country. I wouldn't know the word for honeymoon in Italian if I didn't go to Lake Como, Luna di Mille. This is easy access from the Milan airport, just an hour north of the great city of Milan. Let's go to Lake Como now as we celebrate romantic corners of Europe.
Lombardy's seductively beautiful Lakes District, where Italy meets the Alps, seems heaven-sent for communing with nature. In this land of so many popular lakes, the million-euro question is, which one? Well, all the lakes have their charms. Lake Como is my favorite. It offers the best mix of accessibility, scenery, and offbeatness, with a heady whiff of aristocratic old days romance.
You know, I just want to butt in here for a moment and call attention to the fine work that my crew does. There's 3 of us in Europe. There's me, there's Simon, the producer, and the camera person, whoever that may be. It's generally either Kevin or Peter or Carl. And then we've got Steve Camerano that edits it once we get back home. But if you listen to this next little segment, as I was screening this the other night, it just occurred to me, here's a great example of what makes good TV. You've got to have a good read, and I get to do that in a recording studio where people are coaching me on how to read it right. It's got to be well written. It's got to be lovingly crafted. My crew and I work really hard on the scripts. The music is just an artful, unsung hero of the TV production, and then it all needs to be artfully edited all together. So in this next section, consider the read, the writing, the music, and the editing.
Lake Como is lined with elegant 19th century villas, crowned by snow-capped mountains and busy with fleets of little ferries. It's a good place to take a break from the intensity of urban turnstile sightseeing. It seems half the travelers you'll meet have tossed their itineraries into the lake and are actually relaxing. Today, the hazy, lazy lake's only serious industry is tourism. Lake Como's isolation and flat economy have left it pretty much the way 19th century romantic poets first described it.
I'm so thankful to have my colleagues who are so talented and committed to the excellence of these shows, and then to be able to share them with all of you on public television and on Monday Night Travel. Hey, this steamer is one of a fleet of romantic old, old world paddleboat kind of steamers. And when you go to Lake Como, you get a pass for the entire lake, and you can hop off on all through the towns and using these steamers. George Clooney fell in love with this lake, and he bought a villa just around the corner. And this really is Italy without the chaos. If you'd like Italy, but you'd like a little more order and a little less, pandemonium, here's where you're going to find people living really well and enjoying all the best parts of Italy.
Bellagio, the self-proclaimed pearl of the lake, is a classy combination of old world elegance and new world luxury. Spendy 5-star hotels give the well-heeled traveler all the comforts they're accustomed to. Harborfront shops entice posh travelers with jewelry and accessories. The heavy curtains between the arcades keep the visitors and their poodles from sweating. The steep lanes rising from the harborfront lead to a tangle of sun-splashed squares. Part of the fun of your lake visit is town hopping on the ferries. For me, the ideal home base for Lago di Como is 15 minutes from Bellagio, Varenna. This town of 800 people offers the best of all lake worlds. Easily accessible by train from Milan, yet on the less developed side of the lake, Varenna has a romantic promenade, a tiny harbor, and narrow lanes. These buildings are stringently protected. You can't even change the color of your home without asking permission. There are no streets in the old town, just characteristic stepped lanes. It's an ideal place to savor a lakeside cappuccino or aperitivo. Imagine this sleepy harbor 200 years ago. It was busy. There were coopers crafting oak and chestnut into barrels, stoneworkers carving and shipping Varenna's prized black marble, and fishing boats dragged up onto this cobbled beach. Many Lake Como towns have a villa or two with their dilapidated 19th century elegance and wistful gardens open to the public and even transformed into inviting hotels. In Varenna, the sprawling lakeside Villa Cipresi rents rooms and welcomes visitors for a small fee to explore its peaceful terraced garden. Albergo Milano, located right in the old town, is the kind of place I like to recommend in my guidebooks. It's graciously run by Egidio and his Swiss wife, Bettina. Fusing the best of Italy with the best of Switzerland, the place manages to be both romantic and very well run. Most of its comfy rooms offer dreamy lake views. And Egidio is a fine chef. The limited menu changes daily according to the season and the chef's whim. Varenna whispers Luna di Mille, honeymoon, and a good place to enjoy that romance is strolling along its passerella. You'll pass wisteria-drenched villas, evocative vistas, and lakeside lovers embracing the moment.
Oh, it's just so beautiful. And when I'm there, I have to pull out my little iPhone camera and make a quick video clip for you. Here's a more candid look at that same town, Varenna, on Lake Como.
Wow. I'm Rick Steves. I'm on Lake Como. And this is really hard to beat. This is Lake Como, Lago di Como, honeymoon country in Italy's Lake District north of Milan. This is where the lakes of Italy kind of connect Italy, the peninsula of Italy, to the Alps. I always feel like Italy is welded to the Alps with a bunch of lakes here. That's Switzerland over there. The ferries are plying this lake up and down, romantic villas, gorgeous towns like Varenna. You know, when I'm doing my work, when I come into a great new town, a favorite place of mine, a lot of times I'll just kind of take an hour or two just to be there. And right now I'm doing that. And I'm realizing, well, I'm reminding myself that the magic of Europe, it's as beautiful today as it's ever been. And I'm done with the big city, and I'm ready for a little bit of beautiful lake wonder in the north of Italy. Lago di Como, remember that one.
Wow, you could be there. I could be there. That's a romantic place. When I need a little place to hang out for a while, it's Varenna. Time for another pickup line. Let's see. On the trip of my dreams, Alpine, only for you. There we are, alpining for you in the Dolomites. Alpi di Susi, above Castle Ruth. I love that spot. Let's go to Capri, another very romantic quarter of Italy.
For a great day trip from Naples, Positano, or Sorrento, catch the early morning jet boat to the Isle of Capri. The Isle of Capri was first made famous as the vacation hideaway of Roman emperors. In the 19th century, it was the haunt of romantic age aristocrats on their grand tour of Europe. While the island is small, just 4 miles by 2 miles, there's plenty to see and do. To get the most out of our quick visit, I'm meeting my friend and fellow tour guide, Roberta Mazzarella. Our first stop is the reason most come to Capri, to enter the fabled Blue Grotto. The Blue Grotto experience is more than just visiting a cave. Getting there, getting in, and getting back is a scenic hoot. You enjoy a fast cruise partway around the gorgeous island, seeing bird life and local fishermen at work, all under dramatic limestone cliffs.
So most of the Isle of Capri is just like this. Limestone cliff straight down into the beautiful blue water. Look at this cliff. From the water all the way up to the top, Roman emperors loved this because it was easy to defend.
By the way, I had gone to Capri for many years before I realized how economic and efficient and fun the simple little tour boat around the island is. It just costs $20 or something like that. And they will take an hour and take you all around the island with a narration. And it's a very nice welcome. Right where the ferry drops you from the mainland, you can find little companies that take you around the island. And for a little extra, they'll stop here at the Blue Grotto and you can have that Blue Grotto experience. Hold on, here we go.
Arriving at the mouth of the grotto, you find a busy distribution center. As the tourist-laden boats arrive, awaiting dinghies converge and visitors clamber gingerly into their little boats. The entry hole is small. If the water's too rough, it becomes too dangerous. Dinghies can't get in, and visitors are turned back. We're lucky today. There's a little chop, but dinghies are squeezing in. The rayfish rowers jostle their way to the tiny hole.
So now you can imagine, we got to go through here with the cameraman on one dinghy and me and Roberta on another dinghy. And we got the cameraman shoots it like he's our POV, our point of view. So we'll squeeze through that little hole and he artfully does that. And then he waits and he gets us going through. And when the water is high and when there's a little slop in the waves, sometimes they close it down because you can't squeeze through that little hole. This was borderline too high, but we were just able to make it in. But we had to squeeze way down in that gunnel or we could have been mashed against the side of that rock. Here we go into the Blue Grotto.
Tourists scrunch down safely below the gunnels, and the guides pull fast and hard on the cable at the low point of the swells to squeeze you into the grotto. Inside the 60-yard-long cave, the sun reflects off the limestone bottom, giving the grotto its famous brilliant blue. Your man rows you around, sings a little O Solo Mio, and lets you enjoy the iridescent magic of the moment. Capri, the largest of the island's two towns, sits in a saddle above the port. Piazza Umberto is the main square of this cute and touristy shopping town. The main drag is nicknamed Rodeo Drive for its exclusive boutiques. While prices are steep, the window shopping's free. These days, especially in the summer, Capri can be a world-class tourist trap, packed with gawky visitors searching for the rich and famous and finding only their prices. But other times of year, we're here in April, it provides a relaxing and scenic break. At the edge of town, elegant villas and a public garden are strategically placed to enjoy fine views. On glitzy Capri, everything's done with panache. Taxis are white convertibles. Though expensive, they make getting around an unforgettable part of your visit. The island's second town, Anna Capri, has fewer tourists, a little more character, and a passion for colorful Maiolica tiles.
These are Maiolica tiles. We can see them everywhere, in Napoli, on the Amalfi Coast, here in Capri, on the domes of the churches, on the floors, on decorating people's homes.
And squares like this.
And the squares are like this one. Just glazed tiles, what makes them special? The colors. We love colors here.
The town's celebrated San Michele Church has a remarkable Maiolica floor showing paradise on earth in a classic 18th century Neapolitan style. Ironically, the church's floor is so gorgeous that pews for worshippers are replaced by a boardwalk for tourists. The entire floor is ornately tiled, featuring a sword-wielding angel driving Adam and Eve from paradise. The devil is wrapped around the trunk of a tree laden with trouble-causing apples. The animals, with curiously human expressions, seem blissfully ignorant of this momentous event. For expansive island views, ride the chairlift to the top of Monte Solero, Capri's 1,900-foot summit. You'll float over lush orchards and well-tended gardens. At the summit, you'll enjoy the commanding panorama of both the Italian mainland in the distance and the Isle of Capri. Cliffs are busy with birds, enjoying a little R&R break during their migration, tending scenic nests, and soaring on a steady sea breeze. The Fariglioni Rocks are an icon of the island, with tour boats squeezing through every few minutes. And from here, the hike down is a delight. It's clear to me why Roman emperors chose this island as their holiday escape, and why today so many travelers include the Amalfi Coast in their Italian travel plans. Thanks for joining us. I'm Rick Steves. Until next time, keep on traveling. Ciao.
This is my Rick up line for our Monday night travel crew, who work so hard to make this show go on every week, and they'll continue to do the same. With your heart as my destination, I don't need no transit pass. Hey, we're going to go to the Greek island of Santorini in just a moment here. And what I want to do right now is not jump on the cruise ship, but just remind you that we've got a lot of great Monday travel coming up. I'm going to Sicily Paris next week with Steve Smith. I'm going to Sicily the week after that with Alfio De Mauro. Steve was our co-author of our France book, and he's the greatest expert on French you can imagine anywhere. He's my buddy when I'm updating my work in Europe and France. And Steve and I are going to share some of our escapades as we make the best-selling guidebook in the United States to Paris and to France. We're going to go to Sicily with Alfio De Mauro, one of our most beloved tour guides. And we're going to have a special episode on Germany. I can hardly wait to share my highlights of Germany. And then we're going to go to Ireland with Stephen McPhillamy. We have a lot of great travels coming up on Monday Night Travel. Thank you so much for tuning in every Monday night. Again, I want to thank our Monday Night Travel crew. We got Gabe moderating right now. We got Lisa behind the scenes. In the late show tonight, we'll have them flip-flop, and Lisa will moderate, and Gabe will be behind the scenes, and Julianne will join us next week. Remember, every week we have questions and answers, and Gabe and Lisa are gathering your questions right now. And when we're done with the video portion, we'll have the Q&A portion coming up. And always remember, in the chat section, we have links, and we go to some great lengths to make sure you got good links there. If you want a direct connection to all of our Rick up lines, so you can send your own clever European goofy puns, Valentines, you got them right there. So look for that link. We've also got a link to an article that just appeared this week that I wrote for Condé Nast magazine. It's called A Double Date with Paris, and I had really fun cobbling together my romantic experiences in Paris and put it into a little article. So you can read that if you'd like, and lots of other important links right there in the chat section. Okay, now we're gonna check out one of those. We're gonna get back on that ship, and we're gonna go to Santorini. And I do want to remind you, as we look at the Santorini bit, we shot a 1-hour special on cruising in the Caribbean. Just kidding, cruising in the Mediterranean. And the Caribbean doesn't do a lot for me, frankly, but cruising in the Mediterranean, I love. I've been on several cruises in the Mediterranean. We've worked really hard on our cruise guidebook for people to get the most out of their time on shore. And we filmed a 1-hour special. You can watch that special anytime. Just go to ricksteves.com, go into the TV section, and you can click on whatever show we've ever produced. It's all there. It's all free without me gabbing away and breaking in all the time. It's just the show. No ads, just a celebration of smart European travel. If you want a 1-hour look at cruising in the Caribbean, check that out. Also, our good friend Cameron Hewitt, who you've seen on Monday Night Travel several times, is quite an expert in cruising, and he's got some very good lectures on cruising smartly, and that would be in our website teaching section also. When we did the special on cruising, we really were committed to the cruise schedule, which gives you 1 day in each port. If you think you got to be quick to enjoy it as a tourist, you really have to be quick to enjoy it as a TV crew. We were the first people off the ship. We were working, and we were the last people back on. But you'll see in this next segment how much we can accomplish in 1 day with a great crew like I'm blessed to have. Got to remind you, when the captain says get up early and watch the approach to the port, he knows what he's talking about. We got up early and we got some good footage to show for it. Check this out as we go to the romantic Greek Isle of Santorini.
Aegean Sea offers the quintessence of Mediterranean island charm. Punctuated by romantic nights at sea, our itinerary promises plenty of unforgettable sightseeing. In the morning, we'll be in Santorini. I enjoy the scenic arrivals and departures by cruise ship. Being on the top deck as you approach the day's destination gives you a quiet, bird's-eye view. Approaching an exotic and fabled island like Santorini as the moon sets and the sun rises, just kissing the lip of the breathtaking cliffs is worth getting up for. Santorini is a dramatic island, the rim of a volcanic crater with spectacular vistas. Once a complete island like its neighbors, it was a volcano that, about 3,500 years ago, blew its top, creating a caldera, this flooded crater. Today, inviting whitewashed villages seem to crowd its dramatic ridges, as if jostling to enjoy the views. Because Santorini's pier is small, giant cruise ships drop anchor and tender their passengers in on small shuttle boats. Individuals go to the tiny Old Harbor, where they can ride a donkey up the zigzag trail, or hop a cable car to the scenic lip of the island crater. Those paying for the cruise line's excursion get off the ship first and head for an alternative port, where buses and guides await. With the crush of the crowds, the limited time, and the scattered array of interesting sights, investing in a bus tour like this to see Santorini can make sense. Within minutes, you'll be powering up the switchbacks into the island as your guide narrates the drive.
Those two are the Kameni Islands. The Kameni Islands are actually made of lava rock.
Excursions also include scenic views from the bus and the stress-free efficiency of getting smoothly from point to point. And tour groups are sure to have free time at the best photo ops. Ia is the postcard image of the Greek Isles. This idyllic ensemble of whitewashed houses and characteristic domes is delicately draped over a steep slope at the top of a cliff. Viewpoints here are some of the most striking in the Greek seas as tourists clamor for just the right angle. Artists fall in love with Ia and move in. Honeymooners find the B&B of their dreams and savor breakfast in unforgettable settings.
You know, when I was there, I was really impressed by the difference that people have in the experience. If you're on a cruise ship, you come in with the crowds, you're there with the crowds, and you leave with the crowds. People like this couple who are spending the night, they enjoy the island much more romantically. Much as cruising is very economic and very efficient, the one major downside of cruising is you are almost never in port after dark. And to be in Santorini after dark is a beautiful thing. This is so beautiful. In fact, there's a cottage industry here of Asian brides. It's a tradition apparently in Asia to get all of your wedding photos done well before your wedding. And there are Asian photographers that live here and they book out and people fly in from all over the Pacific Rim. And you see brides with beautiful gowns and a little entourage getting their photos taken right next to all the tourists in these cliffside viewpoints. Again, if you can spend the night in these places, you'll have a more romantic experience. And don't worry about cutting out of things early. I cut out of that guided tour early when I had taken advantage of it and I wanted a little free time on my own. I have twice left cruise ships early. Look at the schedule. Do you really want to go all the way back to the home port? Or do you want to leave ship a day earlier or 2 days earlier in a more interesting place? You have that option and you should think about that.
And at the quiet end of town, the old windmill reminds all of a more rustic age gone by. The whitewash, while scenic today, was originally practical. White reflects the powerful heat of the sun. The lime that makes the whitewash is a good antiseptic. Villagers knew it would naturally disinfect the rainwater that was collected on rooftops. And I love the way the blue and white of the townscape seems inspired by the colors of the Greek flag. Many of these dwellings originated as humble caves. With little building material on the island, it just made sense to dig into the cliffs. These cave houses, surrounded by air-filled pumice, are naturally insulated, staying cool in summer and warm in winter. Gradually, these cheapest bits of real estate were developed, and with tourism, they became today's expensive villas, hotels, and restaurants. With each port, you've got sightseeing options. You can take the organized bus tour and be on their timetable, or you can hire a private guide. You can use a guidebook and be your own guide, or you can just hang out and be thoroughly on vacation. There's no right or wrong. It depends on your mood and your style. I've left our bus tour early for a rendezvous with a private local guide.
We had a big earthquake back in 1956, 7.8 Richter scale, destroyed very many houses, like this captain's house over here. And on the other side, you can see that Venetian fortress, it's destroyed. It's been there since the 14th century.
To get the absolute most out of our Santorini day, I've booked half a day with Dimitris. While pricey, if two couples split the cost, enjoying the services of a private guide can cost about the same as the cruise line's bus tour.
Now remember, all of this is shot in one day. If you've ever produced a TV show or been on a crew, you know it can be slow. So we were just pushing and jamming the whole time. And I needed to get a lunch. I really wanted to show a lunch. So we stopped here, and I remember running down this strip of little, beachside restaurants, and I had to find one that looked good. I had to find one that had a crew, a staff that I could work with and that would allow a TV camera. And I had to communicate, we're making a TV show, but I don't want anything over the top. I mean, if you say they're making a TV show, sometimes they bring you a whole luau, I just wanted the same thing everybody else was getting, but I wanted it quick. We found the perfect place. I managed to get it quick. And we had this wonderful little moment with our guide, and then we barreled on to do more of this beautiful island of Santorini.
Of Santorini's many beaches, Kamari is one of the best. The black sand is a reminder of the island's volcanic origin. Typical of Greek island resort beaches, it's lined with rentable lounge chairs and a strip of seafood restaurants. And with Dimitris, I know exactly what I'm eating. These salads look delicious. Can you tell me about them?
Well, we have here a Greek salad and a Santorini salad. The difference with the local salad is that we use the local tomatoes, the cherry tomatoes, the local cucumbers, and instead of the feta cheese, we use the goat cheese, and we add the capers and the caper leaves. See, you can eat them. They taste good. We've got some sardines here, grilled, and on the other side, we've got a very nice grilled calamari, also served with salad, the lemon, and the olive oil.
Yes. This is a healthy diet.
This is the Mediterranean diet.
All right. So that was, again, a reminder that you can really eat well on the Greek Isles and that you can go on your own and not take the excursion from the cruise ship if you'd like. Really, for the cost of two people taking the excursion, you could hire a guide like I had. I had both in this day because I was doing a lot of stuff. But I really recommend taking the money you would spend on the excursion built into the cruise ship, and two people together, that's about enough to hire your own local guide. There's a whole cottage industry of little operators that meet the cruise ships at every port, and they grab up the individual travelers and take them on wonderful tours. So we did it. We were the last people back onto the ship, and a high five, and then the ship's pulling out, and here we got the last moment with the caldera and with the wake of the boat and everything. But you can kind of feel how happy the crew is right now because we had a beautiful day, and I just had to grab it. Running after my crew, I could hardly keep up with them. They're so energized when they're on the hunt for the good shots. When you have a script, you've got to cover every word in the script. And we knew we needed a shot of this or just a shot of that in order for Simon, who's carrying the tripod right now, to go home with all the parts he needed to then help cobble this show together into a beautiful half hour that you get to see on public television.
Hi, I'm Rick Steves. We've been in Santorini all day making the TV show, and we've been just going like mad every minute. We're back on the ship. Just want to show you how our crew works. This is Simon, the producer, and Carl Bauer, the cameraman.
Not the bar. This is just a...
These guys work this hard and this intensely the entire day. I mean, it's amazing, and it's a lot of pressure because they got to get it right. If something's not right, if there's a little mental lapse, the whole show will suffer. And there is very, very, very rarely any mental lapses that might be a problem otherwise. And Simon, who's the whole brains, he's the boss of the whole shoot. He's also very mindful as the I don't know, the grip or the whatever you call it for the cameraman. I mean, he sets up the tripod, he carries the tripod, he holds the lights, he carries the gear. Simon is amazing.
So they have to think on the fly. I mean, there's so many things to concern themselves with, and we're just getting beautiful stuff. And right now, the light is nice. What do you think? Something like... So this is goodbye to Santorini. All right, goodbye to Santorini. And we'll have a 1-hour show on cruising the Mediterranean coming your way in a few months on public television. Happy travels on the high seas in Greece.
All right, and just because we're here, we get the inevitable wake shot. Can't get a boat without a wake shot. Can't shoot a boat without a wake shot. I'm ready. This is kind of cool.
Will you be my Valentine? Maybe not. Now we're going to go to Iran. And when I reviewed this with my staff, they go, Iran? Is that a romantic place? Actually, yes. The town of Shiraz is the fabled city of poets, of Persian poets, the prophets of love. So now as we go together to Iran, we're going to go to the great city of Shiraz, and we're going to get a dose of how the people, they're just the poets, the romantic poets. They're almost like a religion for people who memorize the beautiful sonnets from their Persian culture.
A couple more hours to the southwest is Shiraz, a booming city of over 1 million people. Another center of Persian culture, Shiraz is a sophisticated city. Its impressive citadel with fine brickwork survives from when this was the capital of Persia 200 years ago. Shiraz is famous as the home of beloved Persian poets. Perhaps the two greatest were Hafez and Saadi, who lived here centuries ago. Gardens sprawl out from the poets' tombs, with tranquil corners provided to ponder the mystical brilliance of these prophets of love. Even in our rushed modern world, Iranians take time to slow down and be meditative. Friends and families gather here to share their poetry. Hafez, who lived in the early 14th century, is entombed beneath this ornate canopy in this peaceful garden. His lyrical poems are noted for their beauty. They draw upon themes of love, mysticism, and early Sufi teachings. He is revered, and his poetry is still enormously influential on the Iranian people. The tomb of Sheikh Saadi has a similar impact on people from all levels of Iranian society. Writing in the 13th century, he drew from his extensive travels and interactions with people from all walks of life. His words still stir the souls of Iranians.
So I'm gonna read the poem to you. You'll see the writing on the screen, but so you can enjoy the images. It's just an amazing experience to be there with all that love and all that heritage. The links of the beloved's hair form a chain of suffering. The man not thus bound remains unaware of this tale. As for myself, strike me by the sword in her full view. A sidelong glance from those eyes will full ransom make. And should I give up life in pursuit of her favor? No pity at all. I love the beloved more than I love my life.
Wow, to see people there on dates on Valentine's Day, reading those books peacefully, it's beautiful, it's inspirational. It really is. Hey, with your heart as my destination, the trail is obvious. This is the trail I always refer to when I give a lecture. I say, imagine in the Alps, you're tight-roping literally on a ridge. On one side, you got lake stretching all the way to Germany. On the other side, you got the most incredible alpine panorama anywhere, the Eiger, Monk, and Jungfrau cut glass peaks reaching for the heavens. And ahead of you, you hear the long legato tones of an Alphorn, announcing that the helicopter-stocked mountain hut is open. It's just around the corner, and the coffee schnapps is on. That's a memory I had when I was a kid. That picture was taken a long time ago. And God willing, I'm going back there on a hike this summer. I'm going to hike on that ridge, Schinnigeplat to Fallhorn to First, all above Grindelwald in the Berner Oberland. Stay tuned. There's a lot of travel coming your way. All right. Now we're going to go to Vienna. Vienna, the eastern counterpart of Paris.
Vienna has fine art and architecture from just about every age, and particularly interesting is the art from the last decades of Habsburg rule, Art Nouveau. Vienna gave birth to its own curvaceous brand of Art Nouveau in the early 1900s, Jugendstil. Playful examples are all over town. Whether architecture, coffee, cakes, or music, it's all part of the good life, Vienna style. The Belvedere Palace, with its elegant Baroque gardens, was the lavish home of Prince Eugene of Savoy, the still much appreciated conqueror of the Turks. Eugene was the greatest military genius of his age and highly valued by his emperor.
When you conquer great enemies, as Eugene did, you get really rich. Since he had no heirs, the state inherited his palace. In the 19th century, Emperor Joseph II converted the palace into Austria's first great public art gallery.
It houses the Austrian Gallery of 19th and 20th century art. As Austria became a leader in European art around 1900, that age is the collection's forte, with fine works by a school of respected romantics, Egon Schiele and Gustav Klimt.
Oh, baby, I got to take this moment to remind you there's a very, very romantic book. A guy named Rick Steves, who loves European art, collected his 100 favorite masterpieces. I'm so proud of this book, and it gives you just a delightful stroll through the story of Europe, and all of these great masterpieces are highlighted. We're going to visit with Klimt's The Kiss here in just a moment, but I couldn't bear to let the opportunity go by without reminding you there's the 100 greatest works of art, and that would be a beautiful Valentine's gift for anyone who's got a partner who loves art.
In the room full of sumptuous paintings by Klimt, you can get caught up in his creed that all art is erotic. He was fascinated with both the beauty and the danger of women. He painted during the turn of the century, when Vienna was a splendid laboratory of hedonism, the love of pleasure. For Klimt, Eve was the prototypical woman. Her body, not the apple, provided the seduction. Frustrated by censorship, Klimt refused every form of state support. While he didn't paint women entirely nude, he managed to capture a bewitching eroticism. Here, Judith is no biblical heroine, but a high society Viennese woman with an ostentatious necklace. With half-closed eyes and lightly parted lips, she's dismissive, yet mysterious and seductive. Holding the head of her biblical victim, she's the modern femme fatale. In perhaps his most famous painting, The Kiss, the woman is no longer dominating, but submissive, abandoning herself to her man in a fertile field and a vast universe. In a glow emanating from a radiance of desire, the body she presses against is a self-portrait of the artist himself, Gustav Klimt.
I love this museum, this gallery, the Belvedere, and I love the work of Klimt.
Hey, you must be a Swiss train because you arrived at the
perfect time. Hey. All right. Hey, you've seen a lot of our little Rick up lines. We've got a flash poll for you, and I would love it if you could help us out and let us know which one you think is the most romantico. You'll see a list right here, and you can tick whichever one you like. And I just think you might want to go, are you from Holland? Because Amsterdam. Or is there an airport nearby? Or is my heart taken off? My trip highlight, the moment I fell for you. Dreaming of you gives any hotel 5 stars. On the trip of my dreams, Alpine only for you. With your heart as my destination, I don't need no transit pass. You must be a Swiss train because you arrived at the perfect time. Hey, just tick the one you like, and Gabe will do the tally, and I'm going to take another sip of my wine here as you do your work. Want to remind you, I'm drinking some beautiful Vino Rosso Corposo. I like a full-bodied Italian red wine. And the name, this Di Ricci, is a great vintner, and that's in the town of Montepulciano. I want to remind you, the most expensive wine of this region is the famous Brunello di Montalcino. But if you want to spend about 1/3 per bottle and get darn good wine, the key word is right there, Vino Nobile di Montalcino. Vino Nobile di Montalcino. Hey, let's go right now to a little lesson about how love is not all a bed of roses. We're going to be joined by my good friend Alfio Di Mauro. He's going to be with us in a couple of weeks right here on Monday Night Travel. And he's going to be busy leading our groups around Sicily all summer long, God willing. But Alfio is a very romantic Italian, or an Italian romantic, and he's had his bumps with love. And he's got a few little cultural insights for us, learned from the Lovers' School of Hard Knocks. Let's go now to Sicily and listen to Alfio.
Buongiorno, I'm Rick Steves, and I'm with my favorite Sicilian tour guide, Alfio Di Mauro. Ciao.
Ciao a tutti.
I love hanging out with Alfio, especially in Sicily, because we're learning little cultural quirks. Like, Alfio, if a man and a woman are just not getting along, how does the woman insult the man? What does she call him?
She says, tu sei zero.
You are zero. You are worthless.
You have no value.
You have no value. And then if the man persists and the woman wants to, like, just finish him off.
This is a very simple hand gesture that is this.
And then to defend himself, the man might do what?
Well, there's only one logical way out, which is to beg for pardon.
So your neck disappears?
Yeah, try to protect the very sensitive spot of your body. At the same time, you beg.
And you beg. And if it still doesn't work, and you try some trick and use some excuse, and you try to dig yourself out of the hole.
Well, basically, there's no way out from this slippery surface, and you kind of...
it's like a cat climbing up a slippery wall.
Yeah, there's no way out.
Do that again, that's so cool. And you're still zero.
You'll go below.
You sound like you speak from personal experience.
I don't know. No lo so.
Happy travels in Italy.
Oh, Alfio, thanks for the cultural insight. Hey, now fully vaccinated, I can fly straight into your arms, baby. We've been celebrating Valentine's Day, and I hope you've enjoyed our Rick up lines. Hey, I think we've probably got the results from our poll, and here we go. Let's see, who liked what? 13% Amsterdam, 7% there's an airport nearby, 39% the moment I fell for you. My goodness, everybody goes for that pun, the moment I fell for you. Well, I'm going to be there shortly, and I can hardly fall for I fall. It's going to be great. Thank you so much for playing that game. And Gabe, I think we have a chance now for some questions.
We do, Rick. We have a lot of wonderful questions for you this evening. But before we get to those, can we have our word from our sponsor?
Hey, our sponsor right now is a company called Rick Steves Europe. And as I like to remind all of our Monday Night Travel friends, we're a merry gang of travelers, you and me and 98 others, you, me, Lisa, and 97 others. And we have been shut down, frankly, for 2 years as far as tours go. The main way we do our work is by taking people around Europe on bus tours. And just yesterday, we started up our tour again. We've got 25,000 people signed up on 1,000 different tours this summer, and we are gingerly moving forward, and we're feeling good. We're feeling confident. I think the pandemic is going to become endemic from a travel point of view. And those of us who are vaccinated and those of us who are able to get out there and embrace the protocols and travel smartly, I think we're going to be able to do it. I'm certainly going to do it. And we've got 4 groups in Europe right now. Next week, I think we'll have 10 groups in Europe. And by April, we'll have 100 groups in Europe at the same time. So we're just starting it off. Stay tuned. If you'd like, we've got seats open on lots of tours, but we are ready to get traveling again. I'm just really quite giddy about that. And I just want to drink a toast to the bold. I got to say, it's not every traveler. The people who are traveling with us this spring, they're the vanguard. They're the bushwhackers. They're the brave. They're the ones enjoying the Louvre and the Vatican without many people in it. I'm telling you, they're having a good time. I'm going to be there in 1 month and do the same thing. So that is a word from your sponsor. And I'm going to have a little bit of beautiful chocolate with my red wine here and drink a toast to all of those who are the first over in Europe enjoying our bus tours in 2022. Okay, now questions.
All right. Well, Rick, speaking of your upcoming travels, we had Lauren that was asking, of the places that you're going to be traveling this spring, are there 1 or 2 that you're particularly excited to get back to, and why?
I'm just working with Simon. You just met Simon, our producer. Him and I spent most of the afternoon today fine-tuning our on-cameras, but we are going to Europe to continue working on our art series. And we just got back from Florence, Rome, and Athens in last October or so. And next month, we're flying together with Carl, the photographer, or the videographer, and we're going to shoot in London and Paris with side trips out to medieval sites and megalithic sites. But we're just working very hard to produce a 90-page script, 6 hours of television. We've never done anything like this before. And I'd say we're 80% of the way through right now, and it is looking good. So what I'm excited about doing is getting over there with the crew and wrapping that up. We're going to do that. And then when Simon and Carl fly home, I'm going to meet Steve Smith in Paris. I love traveling with Steve. He'll be right here on Monday Night Travel in next week. But Steve and I are going to have our annual stint. We haven't done it for a couple of years in France, working on his amazing Rick Steves France book and our Rick Steves Paris book. I'm going to have a good time with Steve. We're going to find a lot of great places. And then I'm just going to be working like crazy, updating all these guidebooks with all of our research and co-authors and making sure our guidebooks are post-COVID up to date. So that's what I'm looking. I'm a crazy workaholic. I found my niche. I just love exploring Europe and reporting on it. So that makes me one happy traveler.
And Rick, we have Jackie and a couple other viewers who are wondering, will Monday Night Travel continue while you're gone?
You know, that's a logical question. And I just was meeting with Gabe and Lisa and Julianne today. And of course, Monday night will travel without me as a regular host. And I'm looking forward to it. If I'm not able to see it live, I'll see the archives because Gabe and Lisa and Julianne are going to be the crew. And you guys have all sorts of great people that'll be here. And they'll just be enthusing about their angle on Europe, just like I do. So of course, we're going to have Monday Night Travel going on. I'll still be coming in probably once a month or something like that. But I'll be in Europe a lot coming up. And it's time for me to let you guys run the show more. And I'd love to be, can I come in about once a month, Gabe?
The door is always open. Rick.
Oh, thank you.
The Zoom is always open.
You know, we should tell people, Gabe, that this is sort of an extension or a COVID adaptation of a tradition we had right here in Edmonds. You know, way back when I had 2 employees, we had a monthly party called the World Travelers Slide Club. And we'd get together and I would MC it just like this. And it would always have guests and they would show their shows and we'd talk and ask their questions and so on. And we'd pack the house for that. It was really fun. And then the next stage of that was we've got a classroom in our office. And until COVID hit, you guys, Ben Green, who's on our team also, every Thursday night we had talks there. And it's free. And it was just a way to celebrate travel and get people excited about what we're doing. And then when we couldn't meet in person, we thought, hey, there's this thing called Zoom. There's the internet. And we used to be happy to have 100 people, and now we get about 5,000 people a week joining us. And it's been a really good ride, and we're going to keep it up. So, keep Monday Night Travel on your calendar.
So Rick, getting to a few questions specific to destinations that we saw tonight.
Before you go on, Gabe, I have to comment. People say chocolate and red wine is a nice marriage, a nice fit.
Yeah.
It really is.
You heard it here, probably not first, folks. But
okay, excuse me.
Confirmed here. So a few questions specific to destinations that we saw tonight. Donald was wondering, do you have a favorite time to visit the Lake Como area? Is there a specific time of year that you've been there that it's particularly nice?
I wouldn't want to go there in the off season because things would shut down. It's one of those places that it's just, there's tourism or it shuts down. I mean, people could, but why would you go there when it's dark and cold and rainy? I would say May through September easily. Even in the peak of peak, it's the most comfortable place in Italy. In July and August, it'd be too hot in Florence. You go to Florence if you have to in July and August, but Lake Como, it's right there at the edge of the Alps. It's just gorgeous. So I'm crazy about it anytime between spring and fall.
Rick, Susan is wondering, which Greek island is your favorite and why?
My favorite Greek island, I got to say, is Hydra, Hydra. And it's because it's traffic free. It's because it's got an amazing town, the main town, Hydra, which has this medieval kind of port fortification. And it's just a quick hour and a half fast speedboat away ferry. I forget, they're catamaran speed ferries. I don't know what it is, but the fast boat from Piraeus, the port of Athens. So you can get there in a flash from Athens. And it's so good, it's so handy, and it's not that commercialized. It's an amazing thing. Wonderful little guest houses and B&Bs, wonderful restaurants, no traffic, just donkeys. That's how they get around us, with donkeys. And I've had some of my most beautiful moments on Hydra. If you think of a famous island like Mykonos and Santorini, they're great, but they're just mobbed by tourists. I mean, a cruise ship has 3,000 people. They're all going into little Santorini when the cruise ships land. And it's better than no Santorini, but there's a lot of islands that don't have cruise ports, and they'd give you a little more peace and quiet.
And Rick, speaking of the cruises, we had Ashley who was wondering, how do you reconcile the nature of cruising with your enthusiasm for, backdoor travel and really connecting with the local people? How can you do both of those together?
It's a big market. There's countless thousands of Americans traveling by cruise ship. I don't want to just throw them out and say they're not legitimate travelers. Of course, they're legitimate travelers. They just want to move into one place and not change hotels every night. They want to travel while they sleep. They want every day to have a different great city. And they like the economy and efficiency and lack of stress of a cruise ship. So I want to cater to those people, not try to talk them into hiking in the Alps, but go to them on their terms. And I realize on a cruise ship, there's 3,000 tourists, 3,000 on one of those ships. Now I've been on enough to know that it's about like this. 1,000 of them are not travelers. They're just they're tired of Las Vegas. They want a floating alternative to Las Vegas. Okay. 1,000 of them are bucket list travelers. They want to see famous things before they die, and they better hurry up. And then 1,000 of them, I think, are real travelers. And those are the people that I'm writing my book for. And you can take a cruise and you can toggle from floating American resort to European adventure. Toggle, toggle, toggle. When you get to the port, you be an independent traveler. That's why I wrote that book. You've got the chapter, you rip it out, you hire a local guide, you take a taxi, you just walk for 20 minutes and there's no hint of the cruise. Everybody's doing all the predictable cruisy stuff, but I marvel at how in 15 minutes after I get off that ship, I can be in that town like I wasn't on a ship. And I can be that way for 10 hours. And then I get back onto the ship, I put on my cruise shoes, and I'm dancing under the moon with a bunch of people from California. What's not to like about that? If you don't like it, don't do it. But I think it's a great way to travel. You can have your ethical concerns about this and that, but I don't know how consistent you are. If you're really going to get hung up on that, you probably do a lot of things when you travel that are just as debatable. I just think cruising is a legitimate alternative.
Well, I'm very interested by these cruise shoes that you speak of, Rick. Rick, we had Beth who was wondering, you're drinking a lovely wine from Montepulciano tonight. How do you get your fine Italian wines while you're in the United States? Do you find them at vendors here? Do you get them shipped in?
You know, I have to admit, I could buy them at a wine importer here, but I've got friends in Europe that send them to me. So I've got 3 or 4 sources in Europe where I get my wine. And that's one of my perks. And I know the people at Ricci, and I love their wine. And they're happy to keep me, stocked in their wine. But go to a wine importer, and there's all sorts of good labels that are exported here. A lot of little small family wineries, they don't produce enough to export. It's hard to find it here, and you have to order it from them directly. But there's a lot of good opportunities if you just go to a wine shop here that does the importing for you.
All right, Rick, we have time for one more question tonight. We saw tonight some of your favorite romantic foods. We saw some of your favorite romantic art with the Klimt pieces. And we know that you love playing the piano, and you did your Slippers concert for us. What would you say is one of the most romantic pieces of music or romantic composers?
Erik Satie. And Erik Satie has a museum about Erik Satie, I believe, in Honfleur in Normandy. And if you get out to Normandy, look up the Satie Museum. And he is sort of surreal and romantic. I just love playing his music. And you go into his museum and you just feel like you're floating around with a bunch of butterflies. It's just a trip, the Erik Satie Museum. And it's one of those music museums where you can listen to music, you can participate in music, you can celebrate the work of a great composer. But I like the French composers of the early 20th century, and Satie's really amazing. So that would be my romantic. I think that's my romantic, my favorite romantic music experience in Europe. One thing I would also comment on is I love to enjoy music in an architecturally appropriate setting. Baroque chamber music in a Baroque palace. It's just beautiful. And you can do a lot of that when you're in Prague, Salzburg, and Vienna. Hey, Gabe, thank you so much. I want to remind everybody, we'll be back here, same time, same place, every Monday. I'll be here for another 3 or 4 weeks. And then Monday Night Travel continues while I will be sending in little video clips from Europe to say hi. Next week, it's Paris with Steve Smith. The week after that, we're going to Sicily with Alfio, the man who scrunches his neck down and then protects it and then prays for forgiveness. We're going to learn more about Sicilian culture. After that, we're going to Germany, and we're going to meet Stephen McPhillamy and go to Ireland. We got a whole month of great Monday Night Travels coming up. I hope you're there. Right now, I'm just going to thank you once again for joining us. And I think we've got one more Rick up line. Hey, are you my flight after a short layover in Frankfurt? Because I'm going to miss you. Good night, Gabe.
Good night, Rick. Good night, Lisa. And good night and happy Valentine's Day to all of you. See you next week.